Every coffee needs a lotus.
And welcome back to the afternoon session. This is the second part of Dr. Indigo Triplett's seminar or webinar. And we would like to thank our participants who are watching us right now via Zoom, FB Live, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And before we go back to our dear speaker for this afternoon, what we're seeing right now is the slide about HR Virtual Summit Philippines 2020, brought to you by Ariva Academy. And we have been doing this, of course, our CEO, Sir J.M. Atienzo, and with our president, Ariva president, Michelle Arish Malonda Samson, thought of what to give to the Filipino people, the clients, the viewers, the HR practitioners during this time of COVID-19 pandemic. And they thought of giving you free content. And this would have not happened without the volunteerism of resource speakers, valuable people, just like Dr. Indigo. And what we can do now is, if we were able to give you something, we're not asking you to give us back anything. No, we'd like you to give something forward or pay forward someone who is in dire need. And I'm talking about the Bayanihan Act 2020. So Bayanihan, which means coming together as a people, being heroes of our country, our nation, we encourage you to take care, or at least take opportunity of this platform so you can make an impact as well by donating what is okay with you, something that will not really hurt you, whether it's 50 pesos, 100 pesos, 200 pesos, $1, $2, it's up to you. But whatever you will give to this cause will go to Mahayhay Laguna, the poorest of the poor. And it will be an opportunity for you to be a blessing. I like it when Dr. Indigo Triplett mentioned about spirituality. This is an act of spirituality. And we thank you in advance for whatever will you give. 100% we will give it, and it will go to the Bayanihan Act 2020. Again, thank you so much, our dear participants. And thank you again, Dr. Indigo Triplett, for joining us this afternoon. Again, big hand for Dr. Indigo. Dr. Indigo, thank you for giving your services for free. We appreciate it a lot.
Actually, Ariva supported me, so it's about collaborating.
Thank you so much, Dr. Indigo. And now we will go to the Q&A, like I mentioned a while back. This is the more exciting. The first part has been very exciting. The second part is also, if not even more exciting, because like Dr. Indigo has mentioned, she can tackle a topic several times and come up with different things to say. And I'm excited. I'm excited about what will she be saying to us today. Zoom participants, here's your opportunity. Type in your question with the Q&A box, and we encourage you to ask your questions live. So for our Zoom live viewers, participants, click the raise button so we can see you and we can hear you. For our Facebook live viewers, type in your questions on the comment box and we will read it for you. Now, Dr. Indigo, we're being watched internationally, globally, right now. So we mentioned a while back through Miss Irish, the international participants. So now we're going to, if it's okay with you, I'll just read the national participants here in the Philippines. Okay, so we greet you and we thank you for supporting and participating in this workshop. People from Cavite, La Union, Bacolod City, Baguio City, Batangas City, Benguet, Boac Marinduque, Gasan Marinduque, Cagayan de Oro City, Calapan City, Batangas Province, Candelaria, Quezon, Lucban, Quezon, mga kababayan ko, Cebu City, Davao City, Dumaguete City, Coronadal, Laguna, Samar, and Tagum City. This morning, we also mentioned and greeted the birthday celebrants. So if you can just message me if there are some people. So Raquel Gonzalez, happy birthday! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. So, Indigo, asking you the first question from the pre-sent question. This has been sent to us last night, and we'd like to thank them for asking these questions. So, the first is from Karina Patricia Apostol. From Surviving to Thriving, do you think working remotely will be the new normal? How do you suggest HR professionals ensure productivity and quality of work from their employees, even if we cannot monitor them physically? What is the best way to hire and onboard employees remotely? How can we best support employees with the highest risk profile? So thank you, Kana Patricia.
Okay, so let's go back to, do I believe that it's going to be the new normal?
Yes.
I do. And the reason why is because it saves a lot of money for companies. I'm concerned about what are they going to do with all of these buildings? Because I think a lot of people are going to start moving their office from brick and mortar to telecommuting, but not all. So in my opinion, is those companies that aren't doing it and really don't want to do it as an opportunity to, to inspire and motivate your employees. It is, a lot of people love, once they learn how to do it, they love working from home and they actually do well. So if it's not on your horizon, consider how can you infuse it or implement it. It could be like how I just had people being able to work long hours during the week and then take an extra day off to make a 3-day weekend. Whatever your company can afford in terms of people not being on site, you'll be amazed if you allow them to start telecommuting. So that's first. Yes, I think a lot of companies will, and those who don't, I think employees will start finding ways to leave you to go over to those people who are offering it. Now, here's the backlash of all of it, is that people who are social and love being, extroverts, they have a hard time with this. So you have to find opportunities for them to be able to come together, which means maybe having meetings once a week in person. It may mean doing some, what I used to call forced fun. And I didn't come up with forced fun. It's something we did in the Marine Corps. And what forced fun meant is that our leader forced us to have fun. Now that sounds crazy, but what it meant is when we had the government shutdown, which was really scary, because I would say 99% of my client base was the government. And all the work that I had done, I was not being paid for it because everyone was gone. And I still had my employees that I had to make payroll. So everyone was worried, everyone was nervous. So I did a forced fun. And this is what I did for forced fun. I took them to a park. I had it catered by Subway, and we played kickball as an adult, as adults. Can't make this up. We got a ball, we chose teams, and we played kickball one afternoon as forced fun. Now you're probably wondering, how does that help anything? One, it let them see I cared about them. Two, it got their mind off of what we weren't doing to focus on having fun at that moment. Three, when we got back to the office, we talked about that for weeks. We talked about the vice president that failed. We talked about the COO who literally had to take pain pills, and we had to carry him off the field because he tried to slide in and hurt himself. And it was hilarious. We talked about how competitive we were. Now, this is what I mean by becoming innovative. If you want to improve performance, increase productivity, it doesn't always have to be work-centric. Sometimes it's giving people more of what will develop them spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, and things like that. And when you make the mistake of only focusing on work, you're not going to get maximum capacity. You just don't. So coming up with ways to get people involved when they're working from home will help you to manage them better. In terms of actual management, it's very difficult for me to give you any type of do this, and that, because management is a process. It's formula based. So depending on what industry you're in, management styles change, depending on what types of managers, depending on your product. So for that part of your question, I really want to say, get in touch with Ariva, ask to have some training done around management, pure management itself, because that's a whole class. Let's face it, some people go to college and get a whole semester on managing.
True.
So I hope that helps.
It will help a lot, Dr. Indigo. Thank you so much. Now, this will be even more exciting because we have a Zoom live question, which means we're going to see you and hear from you, Cromwell Maestrado.
Hello. Yes, good afternoon, and it's truly my great pleasure again, ma'am, and sir, for making me included on this very one-of-a-kind and training opportunity. Thank you so much. Yes, doctor, if I may ask, it's all about training, since we are one of, if not most of us, are the guidepost of an organization, since we are the learning professionals, maybe, and internal consultants to call up. My only question is that you made mention earlier about overtraining. Do we have any specific approaches that we could define training in the organization, just to focus on to probably run the training like a business, and in the long run we could have a profitable return on investment?
Okay, I'm so glad you asked that. Let me clarify. When I say overtrained, it's not so much that people are overtrained, it's what they're trained on. For instance, people don't train for outcome. They train for more knowledge, that I want you to understand these things, versus outcome is I want you to be able to do those things. If I train, let's say I train you on how to cook. So what a lot of people do is training where they show you the ingredients, they show you what things you need to put in, they tell you how long something should be, and that's knowledge. Actual training is we put a camera in the kitchen with you and me, and you actually do it in real time so that you can ask questions as things burn. You can ask questions as you're cutting up stuff and making some mistakes and things like that. And then we follow up a few weeks later when you do it alone. And that's the type of training that's not happening very often. A lot of training is knowledge based. I mean, really think about some of the training. Usually we see training that is skill based for things like learning how to work the computer or learning how to be a cashier. That's very skill based. But when we start talking about professionals, we usually keep pushing a lot of knowledge on them, more and more knowledge versus let's actually do this. And that's a little more creative, and that takes more time for people to develop that type of training. Because what that means is that we have to set up things for you to actually do something. For instance, I did some training last year for Ariva, which was performance management. We had to practice on each other, and it was hard because I had to have people actually say to each other, give negative feedback. Well, you Philippines don't like giving negative feedback. I don't know why. I don't know where it came from, but let's be honest. Cromwell, do you like giving people bad news?
Right, I understand that. Well, definitely, because they regarded most of the organizations, even the stakeholders, usually regarded training as an expense and a cost for the organization. But they don't know. Well, probably some of them didn't know exactly what the value added principles of training in return to the business in general. So I think that's what they are really probably foggy about. Thinking if you are not really giving or receiving any buy-in from the top management, then that would surely be a great downfall for any HR training organization if they don't recognize training as a value-added principle in the business, in the corporate strategy. So that's why I'm asking about this, because if you don't have any, shall we say, more solid foundation how you present your proposal or you build your business case to execute training as far as competency is concerned and as far as the job requirements, job design is concerned, well, I think that would be very beneficial as well.
And I think you're 100% right. I think what happens very often with HR professionals and especially trainers, they talk about, and you see it all the time, and I challenge you, everyone listening, if you're an HR or if you're a trainer, go and look at some different conferences, go look at some different proposals. Most of them will all have the benefits. You know how they say, what are 4 takeaways? What are 3 takeaways? Very rarely do people say that we will improve by 15%, 10%, 20. They don't quantify. They don't say within 1 quarter you or within 2 weeks, which is measurable. Within this amount of time, you will see an increase in the amount of XYZs. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times trainers speak in terms of the feel good part, or they'll walk away with the understanding of, they'll walk away with a better an experience. You know what I mean? It's not about they will gain, they will improve, they will increase, they will minimize. Those are all things that are measurable. And then that's when a business owner, CEO, or anyone in true leadership can look at and say, okay, they're telling me this is going to cost basically $200 per person. And when they come through this, what will they get? Well, here it says they're going to increase by 10% on XYZ. That's measurable. Now I can come back and measure that. And if it's not happening, I can then say, you know, we did this, we invested in that. What's going on? But when you do the fluffies of, you know, they'll improve, they'll, you know the verbiage. We all heard it. It's hard for a leader to get behind that because it's not measurable. They got where they are because they understand money, they understand figures, they understand facts. We don't speak to them in that language. So it's like you're saying, oh, it's good for you. They're saying, but this is costing. So you have to speak their language of percentages, amounts, time frame, and just I really believe that's what made the difference between, like, I am at heart a trainer, but I'm a businesswoman.
Yes.
And as a businesswoman, I talk about the profitability that if we do this training, we will be profitable here based on improving in this area, increasing that, minimizing that. Nobody ever talks about minimizing. Minimizing is another form of proving. So spend time looking over your proposals, looking over what you want to present and why you're trying to do it. And at the end of the day, not what are they going to walk away with? Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't care. I'm talking as a businesswoman right now.
Yes.
As a businesswoman, I don't care that they're going to walk away with anything. What I care about is how are they going to make me more money? How am I going to save money? How am I going to increase revenue? That is what I care about. And if you can't say those things, you're not going to get what you want. Does that make sense?
Right. Thank you so much. Well, that's the bottom line. I think the bottom line of any business, of course, is profitability, sales, and the like. So that's great.
Thank
Well,
you,
it's
sir.
amazing. Thank you so much, ma'am. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you,
Cromwell,
Sir Cromwell.
If
Thank you.
someone
Thank you,
comes
sir.
to you and they don't put those things in their proposals, send them back.
Yeah.
Say, go
Right.
back and tell me how can we measure this.
Right.
Keep challenging your people to learn to speak in that language. And like the high tide, even the raggedy boats will rise.
You know
Right.
what? So thank you, Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Indigo,
you.
for the answer. Thank you, Sir Cromwell, for your
Thank you,
participation
sir, so much.
today.
My pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
If I can give you a feedback, Dr. Indigo, I love the fact that you are wearing many hats. A spiritual speaker, a motivator, a teacher, and now a business owner, which means you give us a lot of perspectives on how people see things. And thank you for giving us that. The diversity of perspectives coming from the different roles you're wearing and doing, and many hats, different hats you're wearing. Now, we have, speaking of surviving and thriving, Dr. Indigo, Nina M. Santa Maria is worried because she's asking, how can brick and mortar restaurants and retail services or companies survive and thrive, especially with the quarantine? In the Philippines, we call it quarantine. And the social distancing. Now that the malls will remain closed for an uncertain period of time. So she's concerned to survive and thrive. How can she survive and thrive? More brick and mortar restaurant.
So I'm gonna be very, very transparent. Some of us aren't going to be able to survive this because your client base is reliant on being there. But I do find, which is very, very interesting here, restaurants are able to stay open as long as they don't have you sit down.
Okay.
People are now using Grab a lot to have food delivered. So again, I don't know for you, and you might be able to share this with me, how things work there. But if you do have a business that is catering to people, figure out how can I get my product to them. The biggest thing about a business is really having a product and a service that these are two things that people are looking for: value and price. So once you figure out, is it of value? Do people still want what I have? And is it at a good price?
Yes.
So when you figure out those things, now, if you got those things, how do you get it to them? Like, for instance, how you and I, this is not our natural habitat.
I agree.
We're used to being at conferences and we're used to being in classrooms, but we have something of value. and many of us are having to cut our prices drastically,
True.
but we'll make it up in volume. If you start looking at, wow, I'm going to go out of business because I can't charge the same price, look at volume, value, price, and now what's the vehicle to get it out there? For us, it's Zoom. For a restaurant, it might be Grab.
Yes.
And I don't know, you have to tell me if that's relevant.
Yes, Dr. Indigo. In the Philippines, especially in the Metro Manila area, we have the Grab food and Grab delivery. So what you're telling us, we can relate because this brick and mortar restaurant can survive. No need for sit-in or sitting in customers or dining in customers. But the way for them to survive is, I love what you mentioned. Is it quality? Is it value? And how to get your product from the store to the clients. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Indigo. Now, anonymous attendee, people get fired for who you are. And this time, there will be many mistakes. How much slack do you give? And when to put your foot down? And how to do it? Anonymous attendee.
So let me share this with you all. When it comes to firing, I don't want to sound like I'm hard or harsh on people, but this is how I measure if someone is worthy of being pushed out of my company.
Okay.
When they start making mistakes, and write this down, there's a thing called heart mistake, head mistake.
Okay.
A heart mistake means they didn't give a damn about you or your company. This heart, I don't care. They did it knowing that it's not right, knowing that they shouldn't do it. And the reverse of a heart thing is that, like Howell said something to me earlier that really touched my heart because I knew it came from his heart. So we deal with people in a heart level. Here's the head mistake. They didn't have the right information. Maybe they gave you something for a meeting and it was the wrong information. And they are mortified. They're like, oh my God, I am so sorry. I thought that was the right stuff. So that's a head mistake. Head mistakes, you can train people. You can teach them to do the right thing. Heart mistake, you can't train somebody. Can't train a heart because that's coming from here. That's who they are. So when people make mistakes, step back, ask the right questions. Like, why did you do that? What walk me through what happened? And when they go, well, I didn't have that much time, so I just figured, that's the best we could do. Is that coming from the head or the heart? Ask them the question, what would you do differently the next time? If they say, well, I would probably come to you and ask because you know more about this. That's coming from the head. If they say, well, the next time, I don't know, what would you have me to do? Well, that might be a hard thing. When you start hearing attitude and that's hard stuff, and that's when you need to get rid of them. Okay. Because you can't change hearts. You can change minds.
Yes.
You can't change hearts.
Brilliant answer, Dr. Indigo. You have consistently been a source of thoughts that would shatter our belief system here in Asia. Because, in Asia, you've been in Asia for so long, we believe in saving face.
Yeah.
We believe in not really nepotism, but you know what? We don't want to hurt them, so we'd rather keep them, even if they have attitude problem. But thank you for bringing that up. We cannot change their hearts.
Can I share this with you?
Yes, Doctor.
I've been here since 2016, so that's 4 years. And even when I was in China, they talked about saving face. I mean, they're really big in saving face. But here's something I want you all to really think about. The baton of power is being passed. Right now, America, and you guys know how the relay race works.
Yes.
It's a baton and people are running with it. So right now, the baton is like this, getting ready to be passed. America wants to keep the baton, but we've had our day. And I really believe it is moving here. But there are things you're going to have to start, continue, and stop doing. And if allowing people to stay on payroll when they're not contributing You can't afford that anymore. There's a lot of things we just can't afford anymore. And when we start looking at even how this virus works, some people tried to save face and keep it quiet. And now it's hurting countries, it's killing people. Think about that in your business, think about that in your life. Are you allowing things to happen because you want to save face that at some point, with technology the way it is, everything in the dark comes to light. It's either now or later. So you can prolong it and try to act like it's going to go away, but it will come to light. And that is something I believe over in Asia, you're going to have to start doing faster if you're going to maintain any level of power.
Thank you, Dr. Indigo. And that's why we value people like you who believe in us so that we'll maximize our chances of being there. When you mentioned a while back, step into the greatness, we're excited to step into that greatness. There's this one person who admires you, anonymous attendee. This person says, "How to be you, Dr. Indigo. You are such an inspiration to me."
Well, you can't be me. I'm already taken.
Okay. So in the Philippines, the context is they admire you so much. When they say how to be you, they idolize you, they adore you, they admire.
Well, I have a book. I have several books out, but one of my books, I talk about you. And I sat down, I tried to think, we always hear this phrase about you. What is you? And I sat down, I came up with you means years of understanding.
Wow.
That you, as we go into whatever we're going into, you all, it's about being authentic. It's about being radically authentic. For those of you who know me, I used to have a lot of hair. Remember, I used to have a lot of hair.
Well, 2 years ago, you had this beautiful braid, and you look. However you're wearing your hair, you look stunning, Dr. Indigo.
Well, let me just share with you all. That was not my hair. I was buying that hair. Yes, you look all shocked. Let me tell you, I had a company that was buying hair from India.
Okay.
Move it to China. They processed it, sent it to America, and then they would send it to me in Malaysia. How crazy is that? Wow. And the reason I was doing it is because I felt and knew at one point that people wanted a certain image. So I played into that image. Okay. And that wasn't being authentic. It wasn't being me. So what you see today is me being me. This is my hair. This is how I look. I'm an African American. I don't have Indian hair, but I was wearing Indian hair, and it was looking good, I gotta tell you.
You look great with that. Yeah.
But what I have learned from years of understanding is that in order for me to step into my true greatness, I have to be authentic and like the me that keeps showing up. So when you become in love with you, others will love you.
I love the years of understanding. Can you publish the book here in the Philippines, Dr. Indigo?
There's a couple of copies
floating around. In the Philippines, okay.
And they have it.
I love you, which means years of understanding. Wow, the self. Thank you so much. And just to validate your worth, Dr. Indigo, if you are beautiful outside, you're even more beautiful inside.
Thank you.
That's the power of self-love. You know what? My image of you, you're this statuesque, tall girl, full of intellect, beaming with pride, beautiful human being, and was generous enough to share with us your learnings and your years of accumulated learnings in the years of practice. And that's the image of you that I still have today. And it still is true to this day, Dr. Indigo. In fact, the spirit of Oprah and the diva in Whitney Houston, those powers are in you. Yes. Yes. That's how powerful your presence is, and your heart is, and your beauty is. Now,
thank you.
From anonymous attendee, there are some who undergo mental distress, but know how to hide it, how to identify and help them? How to identify those who just hide their mental distress, and how do we help them?
To be honest with you, you don't even have to ask a question. If you just let people know that you won't judge them, they'll open up to you. Most of the people keep things quiet because they're definitely fearful that you will judge them. So if you say things like, "Oh, she's so crazy. Have you ever noticed she's nuts?" When you say those things, the person you're talking to actually may be feeling that way, and they know, "Oh, I better not say anything." So start having conversations with your employee and with friends and with family of things like, I bet a lot of people are stressed, and I'm open to hearing what people have to say because I really want to support people. When you say those things, people will know, okay, it's safe.
Wow.
People need to feel safe.
So don't wait for people to come to you, and don't approach them. Just tell them the energy of non-judgmental.
Right.
So we have to
That I'm here. If
that
anybody
I'm
wants
here.
to talk to me.
Thank you, Doctor. Now we have a Zoom live question from Christine Senioron. Ma'am Christine, are you there?
Hello, good afternoon, Sir
Nice
Howell.
to see you again, Ma'am Christine.
Yeah, hello. It's nice to see you again, Sir Howell.
So
Hello,
with
good
us is
afternoon,
Dr.
Dr. Indigo. Yeah, hello, Doc Indigo. Good afternoon. Yes, hello. So this is my predicament. So I'm asking with my own experience. So I think Sir Howell already knows this. I've been
And your
questioning
boss?
this for over a time. Yes. Okay, here's my predicament. So I am a working single mother. So earlier you have mentioned about the KSA, the knowledge, skills, ability, and how to be valued, respected, and heard. So, but you also mentioned that I don't know if it's a friend of yours, Doc, who wanted to leave her job once there's an opportunity. So, to what extent must a good employee stretch her patience when the manager isn't listening and giving you any bit of opportunity, no matter how hard you try? So, and still the office politics is still common, and you're expected to do more than what's outlined in your job description. And also, you've been told to do more work for the same paycheck. So, how do we deal about it?
Okay, so
Thank you.
when I coach people, let me just share with you. I had a woman that I was coaching that was going through the same thing, and so what I said or asked her to do is write down everything that you're supposed to be doing, everything that you're doing, and everything that your boss is asking you to do. And what's interesting, very often, believe it or not, most people are only doing 70% of their job. What you were hired to do and what you actually do are usually not the same. So before complaining, go and look at your job description. What did it say that you would do? Now, if your job description is outdated because 50% of that stuff you don't even do, the company doesn't even do it anymore, and you're doing some more things, then that's when you create a job description. And so you create a job description of what you're doing currently, what things you're being asked to do, and then what things you have taken on yourself to do that are what you think is meaningful. And that's when you ask to have a conversation with your boss and say, this is what my job description says. Because keep in mind, they probably haven't seen your job description either, especially if they were hired into the company. They probably never looked at your job description. So they don't even know what you're really supposed to be doing. They only got a feel for what you're supposed to be doing. So go back, look at that job description first, write up what is real, sit down with them and ask them, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this contributing to the organization in a meaningful way? Now, this gives them an opportunity to look at it and say, you're doing this? Why are you doing that? Because that's part of my job description. You don't really need to be doing this because somebody else in a whole nother department does that. See what I'm saying? So it level sets where
Yeah, yeah.
everyone has a clear understanding of what's really happening. Because you may be thinking, they're giving me all this new stuff, which they think is very relevant and important, but it may be contradicting with what you think you were hired to do. So we used to do this, we used to call this a desk audit back in the federal government. And a desk, yeah, it was called a desk audit. Now, what's funny about a desk audit is that you, by law, can ask for a desk audit, and the government had to audit your work, right? Now,
Yeah.
if they found that you were doing more than what your job description was, they had to pay you. But guess what?
Oh,
If they found out you were doing less, they could lower your rate. So it's always a risk to get a desk audit. So a lot of people be like, that's okay. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Unless you really are clear that what you're doing is above and beyond your job description. So once again, I'm going to repeat myself. Look at your job description and find out
yeah.
what does your job description say you're supposed to be doing. Then sit down
Yeah.
and write what is your real job description. Now sit and share that with your boss and find out, are you on the same page? This is what they should be measuring your performance by. But they may be measuring your performance by expectations, and you are measuring your performance by what you said you were hired to do. Can you see where there could be a miscommunication along these three different areas?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. Sometimes earlier when you mentioned about being judgmental, other people being judgmental because you've been distressing, mentally distressed.
Mm.
I'm a bit emotional. I'm quite emotional at that moment because um, at one point in time in during my work, I have this what do you call this panic attacks,
Oh,
anxieties
anxiety attack.
Oh yeah,
that I
anxiety
have,
attack.
yeah, that I have been feeling for over the
Mm.
years, and I've
Mm.
been since I've been a working single mother, and I don't have any other opportunity to transfer to. I stick with my job, so that's where the mental distress comes in.
Can
Mm.
I share two things you can
And
do? Two things you can do
yeah,
easily when you
just
have an
please,
anxiety attack. And just for those of you who are listening, I actually have a mental health background. So it's not like
Mm.
I'm one of these people who are now saying, oh, I can do mental health. No, I really do have a background. My doctorate is grounded in research around mental health. If you have an anxiety attack while at work, I want you to, even before it happens, go on YouTube and find music. Um, if you share your email or if you get in touch with me, if they'll share my email, I'll send you an article. I used to write for Inc. magazine on mental health once they started finding out that I had a mental health background. Music
I
actually
would love that.
creates certain endorphins, it serotonin, it increases things to raise your energy, right? Like for instance, when you
Yeah,
go
yeah,
to a grocery store, you notice they play music.
yeah.
Yes, they do.
They
They
do,
do that
they
because it
do.
makes you buy more. You feel good.
Oh.
So you buy more stuff that
Yeah.
you don't even want. Certain
Hmm.
beats do certain things to your brain. And so
Hmm.
find music that will one energize you when you need when if you drop, because sometimes when you have anxiety, you can drop afterwards.
Hmm.
Find music that soothes you. There's one that's on YouTube
Okay.
called Healing for the Woman's Soul. Oh my God, it's amazing. It's very calming. Um, so start sampling music on YouTube that's calming for you so that when you start having
Hmm.
anxiety, you can put that on and that will help bring down that level of stress. The next thing is oils.
Oh.
Purchase,
Mm.
I don't know how you would do it now, but when we are able to get back out, essential oils are really beneficial. I do not sell essential oils, so I'm not trying to get anybody to buy anything from me. But find oils that really will cause calming. Bergamot is good for that. Eucalyptus is good. Lemon kind of brings up your energy, so you may not want lemon, but you can Google. And once again, I can send you an article. I wrote an article around research around different scents. Scents have been around forever in healing. And so you can take that when you're feeling anxious, you put on your hands and you inhale it.
Oh, and you're gonna smell. Oh, okay.
Oh, before I take the
Good.
stage, I was in Indonesia and there were 1,000 women in the audience. And I looked out and saw all those women. I went to my purse, I put this oil on, I inhaled it, and when I came out, I just automatically just came out with my arms open.
Wow.
I don't even know where it came from. And I know part of it was getting in that mindset of the oil just calming me and yeah. So try those two things. There's other things. If get in touch with Ariva. I'm not going to put my information on here because this is their platform, but I do coaching around mental health. I'm getting ready to start a group where every week people from all over the world can come into group therapy with me. I'm not going to call it therapy, but just a group where you pay a little bit of, like, I think we're going to do $10, and you just come in and you talk and listen to other people, and we do this.
Wow.
So contact Ariva so that you can go through them.
That's good. That's good.
Thank you, Dr. Indigo, and thank
you very much,
Christine,
Doc.
for
It's
always.
very helpful.
Thank you so much. I love
Yes,
it.
sir. Thank
So
you.
soothing music
Yeah, thank you.
and soothing oils. Thank you so much. Dr. Indigo, you know what? Time flies so fast when you're having fun. It's
Yes.
already, imagine 2 hours flew fast.
Oh my God, yes.
Only because we're so engaged and we loved listening to you. Now, before I ask you for your last few words, we call it the takeaway or the nuggets of wisdom you'd like to distill and share with us in the last minute. I'd like to just read Anne Mariposki saying, "From this moment forward, you must take responsibility for your life, decisions, actions, emotions, reactions. Yes, YOU. Yes, years of understanding are the only one responsible." That's her takeaway. Thank you, Anne Maripos Key. So, Dr. Indigo, for your takeaway, for the takeaway you'd like our participants to bring with them after this workshop, online webinar. The last word.
The takeaway that I would like, besides, those who do will thrive, those who try will survive, those who don't will die, is all of this that we're experiencing, whether you're looking at it from a business level, spiritual level, mental level, is that we all are being called into something greater. I believe that. And that each of us have to answer the call. What is that call? It may be how to do something different. It may be to do exactly what you're doing, but in a different way. Spend time, be quiet, be still. Allow Spirit to speak to you of why we are in this, why you are in this. And I promise you, you'll walk out of whatever room you're in with clarity. And the whole premise around this to me is that far too often we have spent time reacting to stuff through our life, whereas now we need to respond. Reacting is to use emotions, to do things without thinking, while responding is to think about it and to do things based on clarity. So use the tools and things that I talked about to respond and get in front of this. Contact Ariva. If you enjoyed this, don't just let this be, oh, this was good information, but rather, how can you go the next step and allow yourself to be in a session that Ariva will be able to sponsor or put out there? If you need help individually, I do a lot of coaching and so forth. Contact Ariva and ask them to put you in touch with me. And Google me, find me, spend time I'm always out there doing different things. I would love to connect with you because it is about connection. And I love you with my whole heart area. Howell, love you guys who are out there. Love you whether you like it or not, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Thank you. Thank you so much from the bottom of our heart. We love you. We love you. Thank you, Dr. Indigo. Thank you so much. We hope to see you in the Philippines soon.
I hope so too. I love it there.
Thank you so much. And everybody, put your hands together. Big hand for Dr. Indigo. And as Dr. Indigo fades away from our screen and fades in, an equally beautiful and brilliant woman, this time from the Philippines, our president, Miss Irish Malonda Samson. Let's keep on giving a big hand for Dr. Indigo. Grabe.
Yes, what a great discussion. So much enlightening and enriching sharing of wisdom. And in behalf of Ariva Academy, thank you so much, Dr. Indigo Triplett, for giving this opportunity to us, for always supporting Ariva. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Indigo.
Yes, sir. Sir Howell?
My takeaway, instead of reacting, respond. Respond. And that's my takeaway. Aside from the fact that not only was Dr. Indigo brilliant, she was beautiful inside and out, telling us how to be a person who, with years of understanding, will self-care and self-love.
I agree.
What about your takeaway?
I've got lots of notes here,
Yeah.
but what struck me most is the quote about you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes existing model obsolete. So don't fight what's happening, leverage what's happening.
Wow, best in Q&A! Philippines!
Thank you. So
Thank
anyway,
you so much.
thank you so much, Sir Howell, for moderating our session this morning and this afternoon. Thank you
Always
so
a
much.
pleasure. Always a pleasure. I'm honored.
I'll be seeing you again on Monday.
On
Of
Monday.
course, yes. We will be having Mr. Ricky De Vera for another
Yes.
e-learning session for you guys. And please don't go away. This is not yet the end of our e-learning session. We have a lot to announce and to thank as well. Okay? We would like to thank our following win-win partners. Thank you to our official media partner, Art Plus Magazine, digital media partners, Focus Media, Globaltronics, City Advertising Ventures, Outcome, Elevate Media. Thank you to our win-win partners, Brother, Faber-Castell, Gluta-C, Moringa O2, KFC, Mr. Donut, Tokyo, Lotus Biscoff. Thank you to Boss Jobs, Sir Technology Inc., Pinma Properties, Salary Jet, Ilawi Korea, Kitoson and Carpo Consulting, Enchanted Kingdom. Thank you Disperse, Cosmotech Philippines Inc. And if you want to place your ads here, have a brand exposure to thousands of viewers, please email us at marketing@ariva.com.ph. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, Ariva Academy Philippines Inc. Please scan this QR code. This will be directed to our Facebook page. Don't forget to like us. And if you want to watch the replay of our e-learning sessions today, this morning, and also our previous e-learning sessions, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Ariva Academy and Ariva Talks. It's a library of e-learning sessions for your employees. Don't forget to share it to your bosses, to your colleagues, and to your family as well. For our upcoming online learning sessions, we would like to invite you on another series of our HR Virtual Summit 2020, Bounce Back HR. We have invited international and local subject matter experts to share with us the wisdom to our HR participants and professionals. This will be on Monday, May 4th. We have invited Professor Ricky De Vera to discuss the VUCA leadership transforming a COVID-19 situation. And on May 6th, we have invited Ms. Sally Foley Lewis. She will be discussing leading productively in turbulent times. Don't forget, this will be on the morning of May 6, 10:30 to 11:30. And in the afternoon, we will be having Mr. Howell Mabalot, Coach Randy Esguerra, and Mrs. Seth Shapno to discuss Be More with Less, how to stay positive, healthy, and productive during tough times. So don't forget to register, guys. On May 7th, Thursday, this will be in the morning session, Best Practices on Human Resource Planning During Uncertain Times. We will be inviting Mr. Ronnie Turla, a management consultant expert. And we would like to invite you on e-learning masterclass, online selling from home, how to use FB, IG, and LinkedIn for your business. We will be having the Asia's millennial guru, Mr. Jonathan Yabut, to talk about this. And on May 8th, we will be inviting Mr. Roger Colliantes. He will be discussing Don't Waste a Good Crisis, how to thrive, not just survive during a global pandemic. Don't forget to register, guys. Another e-learning session brought to you by Ariva Academy, Data Privacy Concerns During a Pandemic, Protecting Personal Data in the Time of COVID-19. This is timely, guys. We have invited attorney James Earl Chu to discuss this session on May 11, 3 to 4:30 p.m. Another e-learning masterclass by none other than Mr. Jonathan Yabut, leading a work-from-home workforce, how to manage and develop remote teams. This will be on May 14, 4 to 6 p.m. And if you want to customize an e-learning session for your team, you would like to invite Dr. Indigo Triplett, Ms. Pip Penfold, some of our previous guest speakers, Ariva partner speakers, please do call me at 0916-695-4418 or email me at irish.arivaacademy@gmail.com. Thank you for joining us today, guys. Hope to see you on Monday. Yes, the VUCA leadership. Don't forget to register. We will be having Mr. Ricky De Vera. This is Irish, Malonda Samson. Again, in Ariva, it's all about being better. Be safe and stay home, guys. Thank you and have a great week. Bye-bye.